So, let me introduce you to a famous SAAB here. This is a 1991 9000 Classic. It's turbo, also known as CC, Combi Coupe. And I just brought it out of my garage from a 5-year hibernation, if you like. It hasn't been on the road for 5 years. I only registered again yesterday. And decided to do a few videos of this car. It's probably my most favorite car of all, and I've had a few SAABs. Let's have a look inside. I don't know how well that translates to camera, but it's in a pretty good shape. Leather seats, front, back. The only modification is the steering wheel cover. It's an automatic. Yes, I know. It'd been better if it was 5-speed, but unfortunately in Australia they're really hard to come by. It sits on pretty famous wheels, original SAAB 15-inch sunburst deep dish. So these wheels only come on the turbo models, 9000 turbo models. The front tires, as you can see, are truck tires, bold, and the rear ones are still good. What else? I'm going to fire up the car in a minute to let you listen to it a little. Let's have a look. Here we go. Let's have a look what's going on under here. There it is. The famous motor, the famous engine. 2.3 litre SAAB 4-cylinder turbo motor. There's the turbo. I believe it's a Garrett T25 or T28. Someone can comment down below what it is. What else? Give it a few blips. So for a 32-year-old car, the motor is purring. Sounds good. It's got 230,000 Ks from memory. Let's have a look. No, 223,000 Ks. And it sounds mean. See? Now, you would think that this has a full exhaust or something, yeah? No. I took it out of the garage yesterday for the first time. Took it for a drive. Put some fresh fuel in it, took it for a drive. And what do you know? The rear muffler fell off. So now it's got a full exhaust. It sounds like SAAB on steroids. Let's go inside and have a look. The climate control works as it should. Let's give it a few revs. Yeah, the power steering is complains a little. It's old. Radio, original radio, works. So I'll turn that off for YouTube. It's a 4-speed. Yes, I would have preferred the 5-speed, of course. But like I said, in Australia they're really hard to get. So we got Windows, automatic windows everywhere, so this still works. Everything works really. The only thing that doesn't work is the sunroof. The sunroof works, but someone fudged around with the electric motor in there, and I need to get another one. Just that the motor is not working. But as you can see, it idles perfectly. I mean, this is a 32-year-old car, 223,000 Ks. Yeah, there you go. You can see nothing lights up, no warning lights, no anything. So this is the way that SAAB built cars back then, no one builds them like that anymore. So you got leather at the back, leather at the front, in good condition. The dash, well, it's got a crack here, but I mean, this is Australia, I'm in Adelaide, so we get really, really hot summers. So the European cars don't really do that well in our hot summers, especially the plastics. They don't last. So that cracked there. I'll turn it off and give you a bit of a background to it. So I bought it in 2013, I believe. No one wanted it. It was just sitting in a garage, in a car yard, at the back of a car yard. And yeah, and I happened to find it on internet, and it was just sitting there. No one wanted it in the back. And they started to lower the price and lower the price and lower the price, and eventually I went in there, made an offer, and I got it. It had a few problems. The fuel lines were cracked at the front, so I had to fix that. It was just over there, if you can have a look. The fuel lines were cracked because they're actually plastic fuel lines, believe it or not, up to here, all the way. So with age they cracked. The blow-off valve, that unit just over there, the blow-off valve was stuck, or the diaphragm failed, so it was it wasn't properly working, so I had to get a new one. This is a proper one. It's not plastic like the old Bosch ones. This is a aluminium one, and at the moment it's got 12 psi spring, but the car actually makes more from the I don't really know exactly how much more, but it goes well over the red line, and that's due to my fudging with the turbo a little, with the wastegate and so on. The aircon worked, still works, just needs a regas. It's been sitting too long, so that's easy enough to do, but the compressor and everything works. I had to change the head gasket on this. I've changed the timing chain, and the recent job that after which I've let it sit in the garage for 5 years was the balance chain replacement. So that was that was hard. So if any one of you are thinking about doing your own balance chain replacement, my advice would be don't do it. Unless you've got a lot of time. I took my time. It took me about a few days. I didn't rush. So you have to dismantle really all that part front, halfway of the motor really. This isn't a fuel pressure gauge or anything. This is just a gauge. In the old days, what you could do is you could measure the health of the engine by just connecting one of those gauges, and you can tell how well the compression, how well it responds to vacuum and so on. So this is what that is. That's actually a boost gauge that I bought for the car, but I've never installed. So that's just connected to the inlet manifold. It still needs engine mounts over here. I've replaced a new gearbox mount. It's got a new serpentine belt, and like I said, also the thermal switch that over there is you know, the original SAAB is 91 degrees. I got the Audi thermal switch, which is from memory I think 86 degrees. So for our hot climate in Australia, that's a lot better. The cars don't overheat. The fan kicks in a lot earlier, so that's you know, for our climates is better, and so on. So, but everything else is original, as you can see. You know, that even comes with a Cobra alarm system. You know, I don't use it anymore, but that's what it still works, and it actually has an aftermarket. One day I'll show you. They've got a aftermarket. What's it called? Automatic. What do you call them? The door. The door lock, you know, with a remote. I forget the name of it, but you know, it just closes by itself. Yeah, so that still works, on and off, but it works. What else can I say? Well, you know, just the usual SAAB things. There was I had to replace accumulator for the ABS that sits over there, which wasn't hard enough. It's not a very difficult job. It's a lot easier for the to do it in the SAAB 900 Classics. Many of you probably know. This is a lot harder. You've got to get in there, but it's not that difficult. This is not my first SAAB, as you can imagine. I've had many. I've had many. I've had you know, 1974 99 EMS, the first fuel injected SAAB, 5-speed, 900 Classics, 2-door turbo and 2-door turbo convertible, and 9000 Classic non-turbo. My first was 900 EMS, 2-door Classic, 900 Classic in Sweden. When I worked in Sweden for a few years, that was the first car I bought there, and I loved it. So that's when really the love affair with SAABs started for me. Let's have a look from this side. So you can see it's beautiful and original. That's really how I found it. That's how it is. I haven't done anything to the interior. The only thing I've done is, you know, just give it a polish now and then with Armor All. I've got to find something better for the seats. Let's have a look in here too. So, you know, the seats could do with a nice leather clean. So the door cards are good, and you know, it even has the original RAA marked for life. We've got this stuff RAA. It's in South Australia, if some of you are familiar with it. So it's got the electric seats. I mean, this is a spaceship. For 1991, this kind of features were, you know, they were futuristic. The seat warmers, for instance, you know, the seat warmers, you know, you only get that in cars now. For instance, that little jobby there, you can see on top of the dash, you know, that regulates the temperature inside the car depending on the temperature of the outside. So how hot is your dash, that's how cool the inside of the car will be. So, you know, that kind of technology in 91, you know, when you had the Atari computers at the time, that was the trend. So think about that. They were way ahead. SAAB was always way ahead of everybody else. And the trip computer that it's got, and you know, these things were not. But mind you, of course, this was a luxury car. So this was, I don't remember, but I think it was $80,000 new. So, you know, $80,000 in 91, you could buy a house and a half here in Adelaide for that price. Anyway, I wanted to introduce you to it. Then 91 9000 turbo. And I'll be making a few videos driving the car soon. We'll just have to wait for the petrol. It's got old petrol in it still, so I can't really take it for... well, I've been driving it. It drives fine, but it needs new fuel. I've just added some 98, 10 liters of 98. It doesn't have a lot of fuel, but it's got... it needs to be burned out, the old fuel. Then I got to put a fuel... then I got to put injector cleaner in and run that through before we can actually drive and boost the car. It boosts quite well. So that will be the next thing. Battery, because I just grabbed the battery from my other small car. The battery is too small. And of course front tires, because these are starting to be a little bit more, well, you know, there's still kind of got some tread, but yeah, it's especially now with the sport exhaust system, cops will probably not just look the other way. So better get those things fixed before we take it for a drive. So for today, that'll be it. I'll do a next video in a few days once, like I said, I burn out the fuel and we'll go for a drive. So till then, see ya.